Hello, I'm Leicester Police Chief Jim Hurley, and welcome to this Leicester Police Department Scam Alert. Today we're going to talk about the grandparent being contacted and told that their grandchild is in jail. We refer to it as the grandchild in jail scam. I have with me today Mr. Brian Barber, who recently was involved in one of these scams and actually helped an individual recover money, which is very, very rare. To start off though, let's let our viewers know and explain to them how this scam works. A grandparent will be contacted by the scammer by telephone. They use some very generic language. They'll call up and they'll say, "Hi, Grandma or Grandpa," and wait for the grandparent to respond, "Is this Billy?" And they'll say, "Yes, it's Billy. I'm in Mexico and I've been in a car accident. I've been arrested and I need bail." They'll then convince the grandparent to provide the funds for the bail, and in the particular case we're going to discuss, convinced the individual to pay the bail to them using Walmart gift cards. This goes on every day. It's a multi-million-dollar a year business, and people are getting regularly scammed by it. So the grandparent then goes to Walmart, buys the gift cards, and comes back and provides the card numbers on the back of the cards to the scammer by telephone. And once the scammer has those cards, he has the money. So let's talk about Brian Barber and how he got involved in this incident. A couple of weeks ago, one of Brian's grandparents received a call, was led to believe that your younger brother was in jail.
That's correct.
And went to Walmart and got $3,000 worth of gift cards.
Yes.
And was actually told at the cash register that they felt that there might be a scam involved by the cashier.
Yes.
So, you know, kudos to Walmart. I got to give them a little bit of recognition that they were working on this. But let's face it, it's an emotional time.
Yep.
Your grandparent thinks you're in jail. There's a lawyer that's calling, telling you can send the money to him for bail, and they're running this scam, and your grandmother gets on the phone and gives those card numbers to the scammer. Now on to Brian Barber. You have a degree in criminal justice?
Degree in criminal justice.
You actually interned with us at one point?
Interned with you back in 2012, my senior year of high school.
Cool. And have gone on and now work for a utility company?
I do.
Okay. So tell us what happened when you learned about it, about the scam having occurred. Because we just never get to recover money, and I think what you did is that unusual that people need to know about it.
Okay, so basically I got the call from my grandmother, and she informed me that she thought she had been scammed out of $3,000. And asked her why she thought that happened. And she said that she thought she was on the phone with someone who was my younger brother, and he was in jail. They gave a specific location. It almost sounds like it was a local police department, so they might have researched the area a little bit, and then she basically went and got the gift cards and sent the numbers over the phone. But then my little brother proceeded to walk in the kitchen door, which is when she knew that the scam was up.
And let's talk about it. You know, people will say, how can you believe that when you get the phone call? This is the job that these people do every day. They make themselves believable. They are good at it.
They do a very good job at it, because after riding around with you on my internship, I learned about these scams very early on and realized the elderly were an easy target. So I did all I could to protect my grandparents from it, from then through my college criminal justice years, and then working at the utility. The department I was in was frequently the subject of a lot of these scams, so I was telling them constantly about those scams. But my grandmother said, as soon as I heard that my grandchild was in trouble, all my common sense went right out the window, and I was only worried about that. And like you said, the Walmart did tell her that, hey, this sounds like a scam, but again, she just kind of brushed it off and hid the real reason she was there, because she was just so worried about my younger brother.
It's all emotion.
It's totally emotion, and that's what they play on, and that's why the elderly make an easy target.
So now, your grandmother gave the card numbers over the phone.
Yes.
And then you come into the picture, and what you did I thought was phenomenal, and you recovered almost all of the money. Almost all of it.
So out of $3,000, I managed to secure $2,750 out of that in the form of actual purchased goods. So what I did once I received the call was I first called the Leicester Police Department, their regional dispatch center, and I had them send an officer out to her house at the recommendation of the dispatcher. And then from there, I heard she had told me that my younger brother had come to the house. So I started texting him because I called her and she was just a little flustered after the whole thing, which is understandable. So he started talking to me via text, and I was telling him, can you get me the number on the back of the cards, thinking I could call or do something with that to try to cancel them. And I also had him send me the numbers on the back of the cards. So after some research, you can't really get the money back from the cards. There really was no avenue
to stop payment.
To stop the payment.
Okay. And I think it's important for our viewers to understand where you are now. You're up in northern Worcester County.
Yes.
And you're doing this off of a smartphone?
Yep. My iPhone, just found a corner of the shop with service in it and just got to work.
Okay. So you get the card numbers.
Yes.
What do you do next?
I call the automated number on the card and check the balance of the gift cards. I started with one card, and I find out that that card still has $500 on it.
So the scammer has not cashed it in yet?
Scammer has not cashed it in yet. So from that point, I checked 2 or 3 more cards and discovered that they all still had money on them. So at that point, I told my younger brother that. I advised him to tell the officer that, and we started bouncing ideas back and forth about what we could do about it. So my brother said, I'm going to take them to Walmart and try to spend it before they can. And I said, well, I'll do one better. I'm on my iPhone. I can start adding this to, I made a Walmart.com account. And I started adding the balance of all the cards to the Walmart account. Now what I wanted to do was check and see if that money was safe once it was in one account. So I made a second account and added cards to that I'd already added to the first one. It was not safe in one account. It could still be spent by any account anywhere. So I proceeded to add them all to my account. And at that point, I just started spending the money.
So you've now got the money from the cards in your account, and you turn around and what do you buy?
I buy a 75-inch TV, which out of the $3,000, that was about $1,000. I made the mistake of having that one shipped to my house because I had to take it back and return it. But then I buy a 65-inch TV and 2 Apple Watches, and I have those shipped to store for an easy return if I need to.
I wasn't even aware of that. So you shipped them for store pickup, so you could just go in at the store, pick them up, and return them for credit.
Yes.
Except for the 75-inch?
The 75 had to be specially shipped to my house, and I had to load it back in the truck and get it back to Walmart.
To return
which
it.
was a bit of a hassle, but
okay.
Still worth it.
So now you show up at Walmart, you got a 75-inch TV with you, and a bunch of things to be picked up.
Yep.
And what do you do at that point?
So at that point, I did the returns later because they did take a bit to shop. On the way home that night, I stopped and I talked to the Walmart clerk, one of their loss prevention associates, and I asked them if I could return this stuff, which I could, and I asked specifically if they would be able to put it on a separate gift card, because obviously the refund to the first gift card, the original gift card, those numbers are still compromised for pretty much as long as they exist. So once I was sure that I could have them put on a new gift card, I returned some. I went through the process. I wanted to try to see if I could just sell that or just get the cards for the credit, whether I keep the merchandise and get cash back or keep the cards and give it to my grandparents so at least they can use it later. At least have the funds versus just totally gone.
So in the end, you ended up recovering $2,750 out of the $3,000 that was given away.
Correct, because my brother had gone to Walmart and he managed to buy one $200 item, a little bit leftover balance from the second TV purchase. So he got that covered for the total of $2,750. And then what I had done when I got back, I was at work at this time. When I got back to the shop, I had a little bit of downtime where I had to put my bag in my locker and all that. So in that 10, 15 minutes must have been when they began to try to spend the money, because that's when they got their $250 or so dollars. But between the time I heard of the scam, which was right around noon, to the time I got back to the shop was almost 2 hours. I had a 2-hour window where I could have spent it. If I had heard as soon as it had happened, as soon as she had sent the cards, because I'm sure it took her a few minutes to call and give that, I probably would have had almost 2.5, 3 hours to spend the money that I spent.
Wow. I don't know about our viewers, but my head's kind of spinning about what you did. I think you're a little bit more technically savvy than I am. But I think I've got it correctly. To recap it, your grandparent gets scammed for $3,000. They give the gift card numbers for the $3,000 worth of Walmart gift cards to the scammer. You then find out about it. You get a hold of the numbers from your younger brother who's at your grandparents', and you turn around and spend about more than three quarters, $2,750 between you and your brother. Him a small purchase at the store, and you get the rest of it online.
Yep.
So essentially, you scam the scammer.
Yes.
That's outstanding. So keep this in mind, viewers. If you know someone who gets caught up in this scam, and Brian has laid out very clearly a chronological timeline. From the moment those numbers are given over the phone, you got about 2.5 hours.
Yep.
If you learn of it, spend them. Buy stuff, have it delivered to Walmart, especially if it's big.
Yeah, definitely.
And when it arrives there, go back, return it, and have the proceeds put on another card so you can go in and use it. An outstanding idea. Never ever have heard of that before, and haven't heard of anybody who has heard of it in the law enforcement community that I've spoken to. So an outstanding idea.
Yeah, just kind of thinking on the fly and
it worked.
Got it done.
Yeah. So please, to all our viewers, if you have a grandparent or you know a senior that lives near you, or you come in contact with seniors, please pass the word. This scam is going on. It's here in Leicester. It hit Brian's grandparents. Let them know. Educate them. Tell them don't fall for it. They sound legitimate on the phone. They're going to tie in the terms. You know, we have our lawyer here to try and give that sense of security that there's a lawyer involved. They're all a scam. Please do not give them your money. Anything you'd like to say in closing?
Like you pretty much just summed up. Talk to the elderly. I have advised my grandparents tons of times, and they still fell for it. And there's different variations too. I mean, there's the car accident version. Just advise them and try to keep them aware, because it's changing technology even for somebody my age, never mind somebody who's 65 and above and just didn't have this type of stuff in the world when they were growing up.
And I think that's a very good point that you're closing on, and I'm going to kind of show how old I am now, but when I first started on the job, all of the scams came in letters to your house. Then we got these nice things called fax machines, and they came over the fax machine. Now it's email, text message, all technology that I've seen change in my career. And I can only imagine for a senior citizen who hasn't kept up with technology how hard it is to understand this. So you make a great point.
Especially with the amount of information that's available about people online as well too. They can get their background story a little bit more organized before they make that call to make it all the more convincing.
So in closing, I'd like to stress, if you know somebody who's been scammed or you think you're being targeted by a scam, please call the Leicester Police Department and let us know. And I get calls a lot of times that, hey Chief, I didn't want to bother you with this. Even if you haven't been scammed, we can get it out on Facebook, we can get the word out on the street, or just the fact that we know what's going on in the community, it helps us try and stop other people from being victimized. I'd like to thank Brian for being in today. Outstanding job for your grandparents. I'm sure they're very proud of you.
They're happy.
Yeah, and it's nice to see you again.
You as well.
And thank you for watching, and maybe we'll see you again on another Scam Alert.